Kicking things off this year for Singer Songwriter Appreciation. My guest is a musician very active in the Pacific Northwest music scene. Scott Langdon is a talented and gifted instrumentalist and instructor, well versed in many instruments, including but not limited to piano, guitar, bass, and drums.
And you can tell everybody this is your song. It may be quite simple, but now that it's done, I hope you don't mind. I hope you don't mind that I put down in words how wonderful life is.
I am excited to have him on the show for 2024. This is my interview with Scott Langdon. Scott, thank you so much for being here. Apart from being a musician who performs and practices honing your craft, you also teach music, is that right?
Have two modes. I'm a musician and a teacher, and so I'm either like completely silent or I don't shut the hell up. That's my only two switches. It's either on or just like completely off.
Fantastic. I love that enthusiasm. Now, you are well versed in playing many instruments, and of course, everybody loves a good origin story. When did you decide music was your calling?
Well, I always loved music, literally as long as I can remember. My first memory in life was sitting on in the living room with my parents and my older brother at that time. Um, and we were just listening to, I think CDs were out at this point. This must have been late 80s, early 90s. I was probably like 2 or 3. And I just remember listening to albums. We're just listening to like what would be considered classic rock albums now. I remember very specifically listening to Abbey Road by the Beatles. My dad's a huge Elton John fan, so we had a lot of Elton John records. Billy Joel, CCR. My dad's from Oakland, so we listened to a lot of War, listened to a lot of Temptation, Stevie Wonder, just really awesome stuff like that. And so I had always loved music, and I just always I love the feeling that it gave me.
I see. And you mentioned Elton John, and in the montage earlier, you were playing your song by Elton John. Um, he's quite the inspiration for you, isn't he?
I remember in I think it was 95. I went and saw Elton John at the Tacoma Dome, and this was right after The Lion King came out, and his career was having a bit of a renaissance. I must have been 7 or 8 years old at the time, and I just remember seeing that show, and it was just, I mean, he's an incredible artist, and his band is incredible, and I just remember just being like overwhelmed by like the sheer energy of those songs, by the reaction of the crowd, um, just the energy of the music, and it was like I saw this guy had more fun in 3 hours than I've had in my entire life. And it just kind of opened me up to the like, oh, there's a much bigger world out there than just the thing that I saw. Just incredible. And I just remember I was in at that point.
So 20 years playing. That just your passion for music shows with that alone. You even have the discipline and the diligence to practice up to 10 times a day. Now, would you say that the practicing and consistency are the way to go if a musician wants the results that they're happy with?
Yeah. I mean, I think to me, I laugh when you're like, I practice 10 hours a day. Mostly it's just, I get kind of obsessed. I don't sit down and I go, I'm going to practice 10 hours today. I'm just kind of, it bothers me when I can't play something. And so I just do it until I can play it. Sometimes it takes 10 hours. Um, yeah, it's, teaching music has taught me a lot about the investment of time into performing music. Music is art that exists in time and space, you know. Um, and so being able to, recordings exist, and that, but the recording is a recording of time and space, and music exists in people's minds. That's where it exists. It exists in time, and it exists in our minds. And so being able to reproduce it every single time is incredibly, like, it's important, and you want to have the confidence that you're going to do it right every time. you know I think that sometimes you can get lucky and do something right, but to me, like, if I'm going to ask people to come invest their time, energy, and money into watching me perform music, I want to know that I'm going to deliver on it. I don't want to disrespect an audience, and so I think for me it's just about trying to become the best musician that I can become, um, regardless of how big the show is, regardless of like how much money it is or what style of music it is or what my role is going to be as a musician that night. um I found the more I put into music, the more I get back from it. It's a pretty direct relationship, um and it's incredibly valuable.
What I notice is pop culture is a big influence on you. It obviously gives you a lot of inspiration through anime, video games, and even science fiction. Uh, what other things influence your song list?
I've always just loved all kinds of music, and I like what it's used for. you know um I've been introduced to a lot of different kinds of music through teaching, because I always want to figure out what inspires people to want to play music, and it's opened up a lot of doors to me, that maybe weren't like my initial inspiration, but then when you kind of go into those avenues, you're like, oh wow, this is really great, and then you kind of see the way that music spreads in ways that you can't really understand. I get inspired by, really, to me, it's like a feeling. Like, I feel music really powerfully, um, when it's done correct. I had a student give me a book of Studio Ghibli piano music. And that was my quarantine project. I was, we were all stuck at home for a year and a half, and I had been focused on gigging, and so I would sight read those tunes, and then I wasn't skilled enough at piano to like play them, and then so I had a never ending amount of time, and so I would just struggle through those tunes every day. Um, I can almost play them. I can play a couple of them pretty good. Still not quite the skill, level that I can get there. Um, but that's why I practice 10 hours a day, is because I love that music, and I love the way that people respond to that music. That music's really powerful, and it means a lot to people, you know. Like, I have gotten such positive response, and I think sometimes too, like, people are just waiting for you to give them permission to like love something. And when you see somebody share something that they love, they're like, "Oh, I love that too." Um and then I'll take those melodies and I'll make different versions of them, and I'll rearrange them, and I have a little sample pad, and like I've been rearranging stuff and just trying to have fun with it. I think that it's that's important. So I just look for inspiration anywhere I can, and I just try to keep growing.
Amazing, putting your own twist on things. That's so cool. So you're on social media now. You share your work, of course. Would you say that having an online presence has a hand in opportunities coming your way?
I think, for better and for worse, the way that a lot of us connect to each other these days is through an online presence. Um, I think it's a bit of a double-edged sword, because it can be a little inauthentic, but it can also be it's a great. I've discovered so many great musicians and just so many great artists, and so many great cats on the internet. You know what I mean? Think of all the cats you've seen that you would have never seen. You know, I know what wombats are. Like that's really fun. Uh, you know, but it's fun to share. I love, you know, I think there's a great uh it's a great tool for sharing art, you know. Um Anytime I am asked to play music with somebody, I mean the first thing I do is I go check out all of what their recorded material. I'll go on YouTube and check out their if they have any live performances, you know, I go see like the way that they represent themselves in public spaces. And then you can kind of get an initial vibe from there. I think lately too is that you kind of see there's a whole generation because I grew up in the 90s and 2000. I was born in 87, and so I didn't get a smartphone until I was out of college. Um, and so I wasn't like conditioned to use these things, you know, in the way. I mean, you see people online now and they're just completely media literate. They know how to look good. They know how to get the lighting done. You know, I mean, everybody like there's this whole generation. I mean, especially with drummers, like my God, like they can just mic their whole kits. They get the lighting done. They got the backdrops, you know, they got the earthquake cams, you know, they know how to get the whole thing done, you know, and I really enjoy it. And I really enjoy seeing people's effort put in there. And it's definitely been a great tool for networking. Like there's a lot of people who just use it as a tool to connect, but there's a lot of people who I think that there's a bit of an issue sometimes where people's audience gets bigger because of their online following and the clout that comes with that, and they don't have the experience on stage. They don't know how to connect with an audience. You know, they don't know what to do like when something goes wrong on stage. They don't know how to flow. They don't know how to like, you know, they don't know how to like perform. And I think that that's kind of a reflection of where things are at now. Um I think that for me, like the way that you would display music was on albums and it was on performing. And you know, everything else was kind of to get you into that those environments. And now it seems like that the way that you display your music is online. You can almost exist entirely online. A lot of people do exclusively exist entirely online, and they're incredibly talented, you know. But it's that's not the thing about music that always inspired me, and so it can be, like I said, it's kind of a double-edged sword.
Of course, that's a great way to put it. I'm sure a lot of us agree with that as well. So you describe your drum set as your happy place, and you could say like all parts of a drum set have their job. Now, what do you think about like add-ons to a kit like a gong or something like that?
Oh man, if you can get a gong, get a gong. That's my first advice. There's few pleasures in life like hitting a well-placed gong hit. The bigger the better. Make sure you have somebody to move it for you. um I love drum sets. They're such an awesome instrument, and they're in a lot of different styles of music.
Well, Scott, the floor is yours. Please tell us what you have going on, what you have coming up. Where, and most importantly, where can the audience find you?
You can find me wherever music exists on the internet. I've been getting solo projects going more and more. Um, my name's Scott Langdon, two T's, Langdon. Uh, Instagram, I believe, is Scott Langdon Music with some dots. I'm the dude with the long hair. SoundCloud, I've been more active on there. I've been kind of using that as kind of a scrapbook. I got some like live recordings on there. I'm getting better. I like that platform. I think it's a really fun way to share music. I'm starting to put more stuff out on streaming services. I'm looking to collaborate more. Um, that's something I really love about music. I like doing my own thing, but I love collaborating. I'm mostly just trying to stay active, you know, gig around the Seattle area, Puget Sound area. I'm looking to travel a bit more. That hasn't really been a part of my life as a musician, and so I think these next few years I'm going to be looking to travel a bit more. And if people want to reach out with, some places I play around the country, around the world, I'm very open to that. Um, but like hitting me up, like I have a Facebook page. I use it kind of, you know. Um, Instagram's probably the best way if you're like looking to get a hold of me. You know, you can go watch me practice Totoro and you know, try to take some good stage pictures of me playing drums. That seems to be where that's at. If you've got any good cat videos, please send those my way. I find those very helpful and inspiring.
You heard the man. Send cat videos his way. Okay. Scott, thank you so much for being a part of this. Keep doing what you do, and just overall, keep up the great work.
Thank you. I appreciate it.